Good morning. My name is James Evans. I'm one of the Duty Port Operations Managers at Portsmouth International Port. And I'd like to start off by thanking you for inviting us along today to give this presentation on behalf of Portico Shipping and Portsmouth International Port. Today I'm joined by colleagues Jonathan Williams, Commercial Director, Portico Shipping, Joe Jordan, a fellow duty manager within the Ro-Ro terminal, and Vic, who works here at Portico Customs. So some key facts about Portsmouth International Port to get us started. We opened in 1976 and we are the UK's most successful municipal port owned by Portsmouth City Council. We're aiming to be one of the UK's most sustainable terminals, aiming to become the first UK zero-emission port. We've also got many other quality awards, and in 2019 we were recognised as the Quality Organisation of the Year. We've recently completed a cruise berth transformation project that's increased the acceptable alloy of vessels at the port up to 300 metres. That's part of an ambitious £30 million transformation plan, and that's all combined with the fact that we are UK's best connected Ro-Ro port. A bit more of a port's overview here, and we've got an ideal location within the harbour. We've got direct links to the motorway of the M275, which leads on to the M27 at the south of the United Kingdom. The port sits within a sheltered harbour, and we have deep water access with a channel through the Solent. The entire port footprint is 66 acres, and that encompasses all the cruise, Ro-Ro ferry ports and Portico shipping terminals, and all areas can be used flexibly. We have approximately 225,000 Ro-Ro freight unit movements per annum, and approximately 2 million passengers per annum, but obviously this year is an exception, unfortunately, for many ports. Within our site, we've got the capacity for 430 trailer bays of parking, and our average dwell time is about 1.5 days. Within the Ro-Ro terminal area, we've got 5 modern, fully self-supporting link spans. Give you an idea of what we sort of input to the economy and what we do. In 2019, we had Oxford Economics do a study on the ports. To the local economy, we contribute £189 million to the city council area. Indirectly, we're supporting nearly just over 5,500 UK jobs, and more locally, just over 2,400 jobs. The value of non-EU trade that travels through Portsmouth International Port is £700 million, and our national contribution is £390 million. Every year, we're around £3.94 million worth of goods handled at the port, and we're the third largest international short sea passenger port in the UK. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got some of the best connections feeding northern France, northern Spain, and also the main feeder for the Channel Islands. 80% of trade that goes through the port is EU and Channel Island bound. There's also some internal harbour activity and across the Solent with the local ferry services. And bananas has been a longer mainstay, although the port has diversified. And as you can see in our time, we've done £330 million worth of bananas being imported. We're currently undertaking ferry and cruise enhancements as part of that ambitious investment plan. £19 million worth of capital investments already underway, and that included the berth extension mentioned earlier. And we're looking to extend our terminal to offer more flexibility for Ro-Ro, but also enhance the cruise package that we can offer. We're also starting the process of building a brand new border control post facility, catering for products of live animal, phytosanitary goods and live animals. And we're going to make improvements to freight flows through the terminal and the terminal operating system itself. As part of our ambition to be the UK's first zero zero emission port, sorry. We've got an action plan in place. That's also working alongside our customers, such as Brittany Ferries, who are bringing online LNG, liquefied natural gas ro-ro ferries, which will run on the Spanish routes. We're installing emission monitoring equipment around the site, and that's gone up within the last month, and we're starting to get some feedback on that already to help us build an image of how we need to move forward. And in 2021, we'll provide our air quality action plan to the UK government. Some more information on how we're also tackling this. So within the commercial areas, we're looking at electrifying diesel harbour mobile cranes. We are introducing zero emission or Euro 6 compliant shuttle buses. All our fossil fuel powered port equipment, such as forklifts, reach stackers, etc., to be phased out at end of life and replaced with electric or low emission or ultimately zero emission units. We've embedded low and zero carbon energy generation throughout our ports, and we actually want to become a net producer of green energy rather than a net consumer. We're replacing the cooling and heating equipment in Portico's temperature controlled stores with more efficient energy equipment. We'll be utilising batteries, so the image there is a large battery within that container that was recently delivered to site, and we'll sort of store their solar captured energy. And we're also looking at installing some wind turbines around the site, and we'll continue to measure the nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide and sulphur oxide levels around the port. A big thing we do here well at Portsmouth is work in partnership. And obviously sitting in Portsmouth Harbour, which is home to the Royal Navy, we work closely with Her Majesty's Dockyard Portsmouth. Being owned by the local authority also means that we've got a wide range of access to expertise and resources within the City Council, and it also aids us in exploring off-site opportunities for developments on land owned by the local authority. And we're keen to continue building relationships with other European ports and to create new opportunities and trade routes. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to Mr. Jonathan Williams of the Portico Shipping.
Good morning, ladies and gents. Very much like our colleagues at the Cruise and Ferry Terminal, Portico is also owned by the council. We're slightly older than them. We moved to the current location about 50 years ago, just over, the mid-1960s. And by the mid-90s, we were handling about 80% of the bananas that were coming into the UK, including citrus from North Africa, Cyprus, and cargo from West Africa and the Caribbean. So, as mentioned, we are perfectly located on the south coast. London is an hour and a half away. Manchester, Sheffield, you're looking at 3 to 4 hours from us for distribution. One of the big selling points is the fact that Portsmouth is a deep water port. The conventional terminal can handle up to 230 metre length ships by 11.5 metre drafts, so we can handle most of the big ones up to almost up to Handyside. About 3 years ago, we decided we needed to diversify. I mean, the port had just literally become a fruit-only port, and some new management was brought in to have a look at how we can make the port sustainable for not just the next few years, but the next 50 years for our plan. First thing we looked at was wind farm. We now handle 80-metre wind blades. We've handled a number of project cargoes, slightly just over 100 tonnes, which we handle with our 125-tonne crane. We've recently had delivery of a second 125-tonne crane, and with software installed by Coney, it gives us the capacity to do a tandem lift up to 250 tonnes, which will cover most of the project cargo that comes through us. We've also diversified into dry bulks and break bulks. In 2017, we'd handled 0 of each other than fruit, and by the end of next year, we will be looking at handling over 250,000 tonnes of dry bulk per year, including aggregates and grain, It's been a big change for the business. One thing's become very apparent with the issues that we've seen at some of the larger ports, especially Felixstowe and Southampton, is that Portsmouth is very well situated to handle short sea services. We have recently been restituting empties for Evergreen, Yangming and CMA. We already handled containers coming in from West Africa and the Caribbean, so it wasn't anything new for us. With congestions occurring around the Dover Straits, it's just become an absolute nightmare in the UK. I'm not sure how it's affected yourselves over the continent, but we're getting calls every day to try and get containers back to the continent. Short sea shipping is the most carbon footprint friendly option. It's better than trains, it's better than air freight, it's definitely better than sending everything by truck. The other side of it is with Brexit fast approaching, we've had to expand our team for customs. We originally started off with just 3 people at the beginning of 2018. We now have a customs team of 35 and continuing to grow. We've also picked up with the customs side a lot more freight forwarding, which is something we hadn't handled 2-3 years ago. It's an ever-growing thing to do with Brexit, and where it'll end, we don't know. How big it'll get, we don't know. But we've already started making partnerships with companies in France and Spain to do with customs agency. And that, thankfully, comes to the end of my very short presentation. If there's any questions.
The lab coming up.